Hi guys, this is Raghav here from Headphone Zone. This is a very exciting video. I have with me the brand new Sony WH-1000XM5 noise cancellation wireless headphones. This is the 5th generation flagship wireless headphones from Sony. And today's video is a really special one because we spent a couple of days listening to these headphones. Last year, when the 1000XM4 came out, I made a video telling all of you that this is the greatest wireless headphone ever made. This year, Sony's upped the ante and they've released the Mark V, which I have in my hand. It's a huge change from the Mark IV, at least in terms of appearance. And I was very excited to see how can Sony take something that's already so good and make it even better. We're going to try and answer that question today in this review and buying guide for the new Sony 1000X Mark V. Okay, 1000X Mark IV from last year and the 1000XM5, just a few days old. Now, one of the things that I always said about the Sony 1000X series is that they've got this particular design style, this design language. All their headphones kind of look similar. Minor aesthetic changes here and there, but the XM5 design-wise is a complete departure. It looks completely different. It looks like a completely new headphone right here. So at least from first impressions, you know that this is the latest, greatest headphone because it looks completely different from everything we've seen from Sony over the last 5 years. Okay, first things first, this has to be, I think, one of the biggest improvements. It's just the material of the ear pads and the headband. Sony says that this is now a vegan leather that they're using, but what I can tell you from the touch and feel is it's so much softer, so much more supple than what was there earlier, which just felt like a much harder material. Now, the end result is you put these on and they're a much more comfortable headphone to wear. It just takes the pressure out. I would probably say that these are one of the most comfortable wireless headphones. Heck, one of the most comfortable headphones, period, I've ever worn. But what this headphone does differently as compared to the Mark IV is that it now has double the number of microphones that are detecting the ambient sound. The XM4s had 4 mics. This has a total of 8 microphones. That's 4 per side. So the end result is it's got a lot more input, which it's using to be able to process all the noise cancellation that it needs to do and give you a much better experience, especially when you're in a noisy environment. But here's the truth. All noise cancellation headphones, in some shape or form or the other, when you put them on your head and you turn on the active noise cancellation, especially if you're in a quiet environment, you can almost feel like the air is being sucked out of your ears. It gives you a little bit of a sensation. It feels a little unnatural, especially if you're in a relatively quiet environment. The XM5s fix that. But when you are using it in a noisy environment, here's what I noticed with the XM5s. It does a very good job of picking up when somebody's talking randomly, when there's like a bird chirping, when there's a car honking. And that's probably because the processor is so fast that the microphone picks up the noise and it's able to react and adapt to it very quickly by cancelling it out when you listen to it. So, if what you're looking for is still the greatest noise cancelling headphone out there in the market, it's still the Sony. And the XM5s have done everything that the XM4 do well, but just made it better. I've always felt that these kind of headphones, they're really an extension to your digital life. You want them on, you want to travel with them, you want to use them for movies, music, calls, basically do everything that you can with them. And the headphones really got to be a jack of all trades for it to be able to satisfy that need. So what do we have here? Well, just like the XM4s, you have 30 hours of battery life, which means that you can use them on the longest of long-haul flights without ever needing to charge up your headphone. But what's more is for people like me who forget to charge your headphones on an everyday basis, the coolest features here is now fast charging. 3 minutes of charging gives you 3 hours of playback time. That's more than enough for, let's say, a commute or a run or a jog or, using something in the gym. Just 3 minutes of charging. So I really find that that's the one big feature that I think Sony really added in here, which makes a lot of difference. So Sony's put a whole bunch of really interesting features under the hood. The first of which was an important feature in the XM4 as well, which is multi-point connectivity. You want one headphone that pairs along with multiple devices and it does it seamlessly. Now, in addition to that, there's a whole bunch of sensors on these headphones. So take them off your ears when you're listening to them and it pauses the music almost immediately. If you are talking to somebody right in front of you, the headphones detect that. So it turns down the music by 90% so that you can hear what this person is saying. And it switches to transparency mode, which makes it even cooler that you can immediately figure out what people are saying around you, or if there's a car honking, or if there's somebody who's calling out to you, you can hear all of that. One really cool thing that I liked about the previous generation as well was you just have to place your hand on the right ear cup and it enables a transparency mode. So if you're somebody like me who's got music on all the time, but somebody just came by and started talking to me, I just have to place my hand on the ear cup and reply back to them. I can hear exactly what they're saying, it pauses the music, it gets the job done. So one of the things that we've been seeing from brands like Sony and Apple over the last year or two have been their idea that the future of audio is really related to spatial audio. How are you going to be able to hear surround sound, or 360-degree audio as Sony calls it, when you're on the go listening to headphones. So I think this is really important if you're watching movies, right? You want to be able to experience the full, surround sound experience. But all the headphone brands are doing slightly different things to go about it. In the case of the WH-1000XM5, what Sony is visualizing is a new audio format called 360-degree audio, which isn't very popular out there right now, but they think in the future it might be. These headphones support that. Now, this and the transparency mode, the ambient noise cancellation, the equalizer, all of these are seamlessly available on the Sony Headphone Connect app, which you got to download and pairs with your phone intuitively. And now you've got supreme control over each of these functions on your headphones on your fingertips. Okay, so I've saved the discussion about sound quality for the end of this video. Mostly because while sound is really important to us here at Headphone Zone, I truly believe that people who are buying the Sony XM5s may or may not prioritize sound over and above all else. These headphones are first and foremost a travel headphone. They've got to be convenient, they've got to give you great noise cancellation, but more than anything else, they have to be seamless to use. So I would say sound would be a second priority, if you will. But even considering that, there's a whole bunch of interesting things to talk about over here. Now, Bluetooth obviously gives you a little bit of a handicap when it comes to sound quality, but Sony's maximized that as much as possible by using the LDAC format. Now, this is something that had done the XM4s as well. So if you're using LDAC with an LDAC enabled device, you can pretty much hear high resolution lossless music as close as possible to actually using a wired connection. And LDAC allows you to do that. So you got to make sure that your phone has that. Want to know which phone doesn't have LDAC? It's actually the Apple iPhone. So you're going to be using the AAC format with the Apple iPhone, and that's not a very good format because it's not going to sound anywhere as close to what LDAC can give you with an Android phone. So these headphones, great to use with Android, but iOS is going to be a completely different experience. So another thing that Sony has done, which is very interesting, is included a new audio processing engine called the DSWE Extreme. This is something you've seen on various headphones before this as well from Sony. What it does, it's a little tricky to explain, is it takes compressed music like you would hear on an MP3 file, uses an AI algorithm to figure out what the parts that were missing were, and upsamples it to give you a lossless music experience. Now, here's the nuts and bolts of it. The XM5s have a 30mm driver unit. Now, to put into perspective, the XM4s had 40mm driver units, so you would assume that the XM4s had more bass, had more depth, were more capable sounding headphone. But what Sony's done here is they've changed the material. They call these drivers now carbon fiber drivers. So even though you've gone from a 40mm driver to a 30mm driver, the headphones sound, at least to my ears, a lot more refined. The bass is now cleaner. You don't have a little bit of that muffle that you could sometimes hear from the XM4s. The soundstage just opens up just a little bit. Don't get me wrong. It's very close to the XM4s, but it's better. You can't really compare this to all the other wired headphones which are out there at a similar price point, but that's not the point. The point is, are these the best sounding wireless headphones out there in the market? As of today, I'd probably say yes, they are. Alright guys, with that, this is Raghav signing off. I hope you like these XM5s. If you're coming around to our experience studio, you'll of course get the chance to try these out in Mumbai. If not, see you at a Headphone Connect event happening across India the next time we're there. See you guys.